Quick mic test for X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to blast out through the speakers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Audio test. Blast out through the speakers. There we go. Guys, we'll see you in 4 minutes. You don't want to miss the program. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming up will be Paul Markle, student of the gun, for the first half of the show. Dr. John Lott following Paul for the second half of the program. We've got a lot to say. Not enough time to do it in the hour, unfortunately. But that's okay. We're on air every day. We'll be back with you here in about 3 minutes.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Good day today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, brought to you every day by the National Rifle Association. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here in front of the Patriot Mobile microphone at the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center in the CZ Studios. We're going to get started right away, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate you being here. If you're watching on any of your devices, please like and share those posts. Before I get cracking here, we are live on Facebook for you right now. We are live for you on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Greg in Dallas, Texas, welcome in, brother. Going to be a power-packed show today, I can promise.
I'm sure we've got something to talk about.
Yes, we do. Can you tell people where else to watch us and participate in the chat and all that fun stuff? And then we'll get cracking on this very important show today.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters over there. At X, we are at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. If you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Thank you, Greg. Let's get started, folks. Today we grapple with, yet again, a heartbreaking tragedy, this time in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where a deranged, sick, evil monster, an individual who unleashed unthinkable violence in the Annunciation Catholic School today, taking the lives of 2 young children and injuring 17 others during a school mass. A school mass. Yes, our hearts go out to the victims, their families, and that tight-knit community who is no doubt shaken to its core. The whole country is shaken to its core. As conservatives and staunch defenders of our Second Amendment rights, we know moments like this are going to be exploited by those who'd strip away our constitutional protections. And trust me, they've wasted no time. We're going to talk about that today. But let's be clear here. The issue isn't law-abiding gun owners, you and me. It never has been. It's evil. It's mental instability. It's sickness. It's a disease. And there is a massive failure in this country to address the actual root causes of such atrocities. We're going to get into some of that for you today. I can promise you that. We'll dive into the facts. We'll cut through the anti-gun rhetoric, which is out there thick. You can cut it with a knife right now. We'll get into some of it. And we'll discuss how we can protect our communities without surrendering our freedoms, because that's what the Democrats want us to do. And I'll have an interesting theory and take on that for you in just a few moments. So stay tuned, folks. This is, defending your right to bear arms is never hard, even in a situation like this. You are not the problem. The Second Amendment is not the problem. Evil is the problem, and we're going to get into it right now. So it's not a tough one. We're all in it together as gun owners, as freedom lovers, as patriots, and those who support and defend our constitutional rights. Let's start this show today. We're going to have Paul Markle for the first half of the hour, and then Dr. John Lott will be here. Both men have an awful lot to tell you today. Paul Markle, student of the gun, welcome in, brother.
Well, thank you. And I would like to just clarify, it's not that the left and the media and Hollywood and the Democrat that they're ignoring the problem of mental illness in the United States. They're not ignoring it. They're fostering it.
That you bring up a great point, and we're going to get into some of that.
They're putting fuel onto the fire.
Yes, they are.
They're making it worse by the day.
Rhetoric.
They don't want it to go away. They want more of it.
Rhetoric. Yeah, now, I just watched.
People like this were created by them.
Yeah, I just watched Waltz's press conference just moments ago. And look, I'm fair here. Try to be, okay? I got to hand it to Waltz on this one. He was very measured in his remarks. If you didn't know anything about Waltz, they were straight up comments. He stayed out of the gun control issue, but that's because he turned it over to Fry, the mayor. And the mayor had to remind America that there are more guns than there are people in this country, and we've got to do something and all the nonsense that's going on. Klobuchar has already mentioned it. Chuck Schumer is already talking about guns and gun control. And I'll have a take on that for you, Paul, for both you and John today. We'll go to that in just a few moments. But I want to focus on the evil thing because, and I will say that this, to me, is the worst I've seen. And the reason I say that is because I've seen the video that has since been taken down. It's about 7.5 minutes long. It's on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch it. And I would highly recommend you do. You will see sickness and disease, and you will hear it on your device, wherever you're watching it. And it's evident to me, Paul, that the problem is far deeper than we ever thought. And this individual embodies it. You saw the video. I sent you the link. Did you get a chance to watch the full 7 minutes?
Yeah, well, I'm going to admit to you, no, I didn't. I scanned through it, and it puts me in mind of, it's almost identical. It's like a copycat to the Christchurch massacre in New Zealand, which gave the leftists and the communists in New Zealand the opportunity. Even though the killers in New Zealand stated that they were doing that to try and force the government. And that's what they did. They're like, oh, look, they're bad people. We need to take away all the guns from all the good people, and then we need to lock them into camps and so on and so forth. This creature, who I believe is dead, right?
Yeah, offed himself with a pistol. In fact, in the video, one of the videos, there's a couple of them. I think it's the same one. I saw the shortened version. There's another 11-minute video out there. But it is literally evil on earth, and you can see it, and you can hear it, and you can feel it in your body when you watch it. The evil, it's so real. We talk about it all the time, Paul, but this is just pure evidence of it. You're literally looking at Satan on your screen. It's monstrous. It really, truly is. Let's go to the guns. What he was doing in the video is he was showing off his guns. Now, each individual gun, as you saw, Paul, had individual markings written all over them, each magazine all over them, a lot of profanity on it. Kill Donald Trump, clearly anti-Christian, clearly anti-Jew, truly monstrous. The evil laugh coming from this guy as he's basically showing you and telling you what he's going to do. And at the very end, he had a tactical shotgun, he had an AR-15, he had a handgun, semi-automatic pistol, and then he says, and this one's for me in case I need it. And it was a revolver, full-size revolver, which he then pointed towards the camera. You could tell he was putting it up under his chin or under his mouth. But this was pure evil on earth. And, we can't begin to try to fix these problems, ladies and gentlemen, until we address the fact that evil is real. And it's got to start there, Paul.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we've been preaching this for literally years and years.
Yeah.
I don't know, the whole time is. And it's this mirror thinking that people have when they go out of their house or when they're living their lives. They're like, I can't imagine someone doing that. No, you can't imagine someone doing that because you think everyone thinks like you. It's very typical, and it's very easy because it's psychologically comfortable for people to believe that everyone else thinks and behaves the way they do.
It's a psychological defense mechanism is what that is. That's called denial, Paul.
It is. Yeah, it's mirror thinking. Everyone thinks, that they can't fathom that because they wouldn't do it. And so, therefore, having this inability to accept the fact or understand or realize the hard truth and reality that there are plenty of monsters out there in the world that would kill you and that would kill your children. And, it goes back to the advice that I was given by one of my sergeants when I was in infantry school. He said, somewhere in the world today, there is a man training to kill you. There's nothing you can do to stop that, but you can train harder than that, he said, SOB, so that when you do meet, you will destroy him. And that really is what it boils down to when it comes to being an armed citizen. There are people in the world today that would kill you just because you're there, would kill your children just because they're there. And you can't stop that. You can't prevent that. You can't make it go away. But what you can do is you can be prepared. You can train harder and better and have a better mindset, and a stronger mindset, and better tactics than that SOB, so that when you do meet on that day, that you will destroy him. And guns don't cut it. People are like, well, I carry my gun. It's like, cool. When's the last time you took training? Well, I don't need training. I know how to use it. You're wrong. Because gear is the bottom of the list. The bad guy's going to have a gun too. It's okay. The bad guy has a gun. You have a gun. What's the difference? The difference is who has the stronger mindset, the better tactics, and the most skill.
In this particular
case, you can't go
case,
into a store and buy that.
Hold on. You're right. We're going to get ready to take a break. Again, 19 victims, ladies and gentlemen, 2 dead, 14 between the ages of 6 and 15 that were injured, 3 adults in their 80s praying at the church. It could have been my parents if they lived in Minneapolis. That's what they do in their 80s in the Catholic Church. They were injured. All of his guns were purchased lawfully. There goes your background check, lefties. Purchased lawfully. When we come back, Paul Markle for one more segment, followed by Dr. John Lott. He will have an awful lot to say as well. Please like and share the videos and live posts if you're watching us. We appreciate you being here. We'll be right back.
following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. Guys, you know where to go. Our partners are all found at armedamericanradio.com. Please support them all. Join the National Rifle Association. Join the Second Amendment Foundation. Get a Patriot mobile phone. Stack ammo at Ammo Squared. Buy your stuff at Bud's Gun Shop. Get a new holster from Crossbreed. You know the routine. We're going to keep going with our conversation today, and understand it looks like John Lott, because has some personal things going on right now. I don't believe he's going to be able to make the show. And Paul Markle, you're okay to stay for the remainder of the hour with us to continue this conversation?
Sure. You forgot to mention the most important thing that they could do.
Oh, and that's go to studentofthegununiversity.com and use the 15% off promo code AAR. Go for it, Paul, real quick.
That's right. SOTGU. Super simple, 5 letters. SOTGU.com. You can start training today. And sign up for one of the home study classes.
It's AAR is the promo code, folks. You can get 15% off on that for that home study class. Okay. Okay, Paul. But I gotta go into this evil thing here again. We're not going to gloss over this. We don't do that on this program, but we have another trans shooter, apparently. It's been confirmed. I've been able to confirm it, and I know the news is confirming it as well, that this monster's mother signed off on his name change from Robert to Robin. So apparently there's a trans thing going on here. The mayor of Minneapolis was talking about the hate directed at the trans community. You're not going to get any hate coming from us on this. We're just going to give you plain, flat-out facts. But you have had a number of trans shooters lately across this country.
Well, duh.
So what you've got now, I want to get into this because I think it's important we talk about this. You know, the left always calls, you've heard them say, well, we need psychological testing before you should even be able to buy a gun. You've heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if someone's admitted trans, and we have a spate of trans mass killers, take it away.
I can take it away real easy. Liberalism is a mental disease, and it's a mental disease on purpose. It's not hate. See, that is Satan. That's Satan using a cover story right there. That Satan's cover story is, if you don't agree with everything I do, if you don't endorse my psychosis, if you don't get behind my mental illness and support it, well, then you're expressing hate. I mean, that's what we started. That's the slippery slope we started down in the United States of America when we allowed states and cities and even the federal government to a certain extent to start passing, quote, hate speech laws. And that's one of those things that is thought crime. I've been saying that for years and years and years and years. Hate speech crimes or hate crimes or whatever is thought crime. Like, well, he murdered him, but he hated him before he murdered him, so that makes it extra bad. No, that's thought crime, and that's what you do in socialist republics. That's what they're doing. They're doing it all over Europe right now. They're doing it in Germany. They're doing it in the United Kingdom. They're doing it in Australia and New Zealand and so forth. We don't need that here. We need to fight against it, and we need to quit being so wishy-washy and weak. As I'm not talking about to the other side. They're already brainwashed slaves. I already got that. But our side, people that are supposed to be constitutionalists, where in the Constitution does it say, well, you can have free speech unless somebody else is offended by it, and then you're not allowed? What? And the Civil Rights Act was meant to defend people against discrimination based upon things of which they had no control over. You're born a woman, you're born a man. You're born black, you're born Latino, you're born white, you're born Asian, whatever. Those are the things you have no control over. You have control over your behavior. And if you choose to engage in psychotic behavior by being born a man and then playing dress up, okay, maybe you convince some doctor to give you some drugs or some surgeon to hack on you or whatever, you're still a man. When they dig your skeleton up in 2 years, it'll be a man skeleton. You weren't a woman. But then they say, well, you have to, if you don't call me by my pronouns, that's hate speech. You're a psycho. And I don't deal with psychos, okay? I'm trying to have a conversation or a debate with someone who is mentally ill. And right now, you can hear the shredders going as they destroy evidence. Look what they did in Nashville.
Yeah, I want to see
left
the
and the
manifesto's out.
Democrats. They buried it. Yeah,
it's out there. It's been taken down. Okay.
Oh yeah,
now,
they have to.
It's too late for them because it's already out there. I haven't had a chance to read it all, but I do have it. The videos are out there. They've been taken down. The FBI over the last hour, and I'm checking one of the monitors up here right now, is now investigating this as domestic terrorism and a hate crime. Really? I mean, first of all, isn't any murder a hate crime? And second of all, it's a no-brainer that it's terrorism, particularly, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you, and it's hard to watch this stuff. There's no violence in it, in what you're going to see as far as the video itself of this individual. You will see the hate and the evil in front of you.
Evil that is fostered and fomented by the Democrat Party.
Well, there's a lot going on here. You're right.
How many examples do we need?
Well, we've talked about it time after time, Paul. Listen,
yeah.
When you have an internet, and this is a clear case of this, and I hope it gets the attention that it truly deserves. And I have a gut feeling in this case it might. This is the worst we've ever seen. Because you have a sick individual, and if you watch the video, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you combine that sickness with access to internet, with access to social media, I have said for years, Paul, that, look, these phones and everything, while you can do some great stuff on them, and it's great for convenience, and yeah, you can take your work with you, and some of you hate that. I get it. I hate these things. But nonetheless, they can be used for all the wrong reasons, and they are. And when you combine hate rhetoric coming from Democrats all day long, attacking you, and you're already on the edge, you're already sick, you're already twisted, evil has overcome you, you've given your soul to Satan, you've succumbed, and you have access to all of this technology, this is a recipe for disaster. Now, I don't have the answer. I'm not going to tell you that I know what the answer is. I don't. All I'm telling you is that it is an absolute recipe for disaster, and evil loves this stuff, Paul. Now, we're going to get ready to take a break. When we come back, I want to get your takes on that as well. But I also want to go in a direction. You've got Klobuchar, and you've got Chuck Schumer, and you've got the mayor of Minneapolis, Frye, and others now screaming for gun control. And I want to dig into that a little bit with you, Paul, because I have an interesting take on this that I think you'll agree with, and probably go down a few more rabbit holes than I've already thought of in this particular person. I'll tell you what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back from this break. We'll be back on the flip side. We're talking, of course, with Paul Markel, student of the gun. Paul Markel, student of the gun. That's SOTGU.com. Use the promo code AAR over there and begin your training right now at home and get 15% off. We thank Paul for doing that for you. And while you're at it, check out all of our other great partners that make the show possible, armedamericanradio.com. We'll be right back. 2 more segments to go. Segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed. A quick note about National Rifle Association before we continue with Paul. Early this morning, I saw the National Rifle Association on a notification. They put out a tweet regarding my conversation. They had cut a 2-minute and 48-second video clip of me doing the show on Sunday during my conversation with Joseph Greenlee, the Director of Litigation Counsel for the National Rifle Association's Institute for Legislative Action. And that tweet just, of course, it's the National Rifle Association, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and it's getting thousands and thousands of views. And, of course, this news, Paul, on Minneapolis breaks, and I can't even read you the hate coming at the National Rifle Association for putting that out. And all it was a discussion of 18 to 20-year-olds in the lawsuit that the National Rifle Association, or the seeking cert at the Supreme Court in the Florida 18 to 20-year-old case. So, ladies and gentlemen, evil is out there, right? If you want to read some of it, just go follow me on Twitter at AAR Mark, and you'll see my repost of that National Rifle Association post, and you'll see the hate. You'll see sheer hatred, sheer pure evil. And here, Paul, this gets back to what we were talking about with social media and everything else. You know, we did not have these problems. This is a cultural issue, Paul. We did not have these issues prior to any of this access. Now, is that playing a role? No one can convince me that it does not. No one will convince me it does not. It does, Paul. It has to.
There's always been wackadoos, and there's always been people that have been waiting to be motivated. But what we have with this nonstop, I'm waiting for someone with some stones when the typical, they send the usual suspects out to carp about this wouldn't happen if we had common sense gun control and blah, 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 blah. It's like, the murderer used a phone. Let's start right there. Let's do a nationwide ban on all mobile phones and see what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom of speech and freedom and the Constitution, and you can't restrict people's. Like, okay, cool. So we can't restrict people's constitutional rights when it comes to you poisoning their brains with your 24/7 nonstop rhetoric. We can't stop that. But the hundreds of millions of lawful gun owners who've never hurt a person, hurt a fly, and never mind the tens of thousands of lawful, justifiable self-defense cases where citizens use guns. We don't want to talk about that either. Or maybe we could go to, Warren versus the District of Columbia. Everyone's talking about D.C. right now. Ask Cloakbar. Can you tell me what the Supreme Court said in Warren versus the District of Columbia, or Schumer? Schumer might know because he's an old turd, but then again, he might have some dementia going too. And Pelosi won't know because she'll be too drunk to remember. She's killed all those brain cells. But the Supreme Court, Warren versus the District of Columbia, was the first major case in the United States. And the sad thing is, well, I don't know if it's sad or if it just buttresses our case. Warren has been cited multiple times and has been not only upheld but reaffirmed. And what Warren versus the District of Columbia says is the Supreme Court stated in their findings that law enforcement, whether state, local, or federal, has no constitutional duty to protect citizens as individuals, only society in general.
Yeah.
Therefore, every time Cloakbar and et al. And the usual suspects are like, Derp, you don't need that. That's why we have police. That's why we have brave men and women. It's like, that's why the Supreme Court said that the cops can stand down the street while you're being murdered, and it's cool. So the Supreme Court basically said, we have a Second Amendment, and nobody ever talks about this, but that's what they affirmed. With Warren versus D.C., the Supreme Court said that it doesn't matter because under a constitutional republic, you shouldn't have to have a cop sitting at the end of your driveway every day.
Mm-hmm.
We already gave you the means and the permission and the authority, or we affirmed it, or whatever you want to say, to defend yourself. So go forth and defend yourself.
Yeah, I've got so much coming at me right now. I apologize. I'm looking at something right now because the individual involved, the evil, and I can't call
the face
him
of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I can't call him what I want to call him for obvious reasons. I'd get thrown off the air. But he mentioned a friend of ours in his manifesto, or I guess it was a video, when he referenced Brandon Herrera. And some of you might.
Oh, you don't like him either, huh?
He might know him as the AK guy. But Brandon had a number of things to say about that. Again, which I can't repeat because this killer had claimed he met him at the SHOT Show in Vegas, and saying that he had a conversation with him and said, make sure you vote for him. And Herrera has no recollection of this idiot or talking to this evil monster. And if anybody's ever been to SHOT Show, I've lost count of how many people I've met there. But he, in one of the videos, the person filming the video commented, Brandon Herrera for president. Yeah, I met Brandon at SHOT Show last year, and he and I had a brief conversation. We agreed on a lot of things, so y'all should vote for Brandon Herrera for president. And, of course, that's for the shooting. He apparently claiming he met Brandon at the SHOT Show, and Brandon had an awful lot to say in response. He responded saying, I will not nor will I ever say the name of his gutless coward who decided to take the lives of innocent people in Minneapolis today. My heart goes out to the family of those affected, but to the shooter, I have one thing to say in response. Blank you, burn in hell. So, the Democrats will use this, Paul, in a number of different ways. And one of them is going to be gun control. You've got Schumer out there now already calling for more gun control. And I was waiting patiently for Waltz to do the same thing. And as I said at the outset, hats off to him for not going there. I applaud him for not going there. But I had
I don't care what he says.
Yeah, I don't
either.
But I have a feeling he knew the mayor of Minneapolis was going to go there, and that's why he probably
Oh, he
did.
absolutely did.
It was a politically calculated thing for him not to go there because the guy's a scumbag. However,
he had to get himself a Diet Mountain Dew real quick.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I won't go in that direction. I will, probably Pritzker too. I will say this. There were, and the reason I mention this is because there was a shotgun involved, tactical shotgun involved. There was an AR-15. There was a semi-automatic pistol, and there was a revolver. Now, I am going to guess that you're going to start hearing screams for banning assault weapons. So here's my question. Okay, because I want to egg these guys on. I want them to get it out. Finally get it out and say it. My response is when you want to call for assault weapons bans, you're okay with a shotgun and a pistol being used to murder people? Because I've reminded you listeners for decades. Paul, you know this. We've talked about it countless times. Wish I had a buck for every time we've talked about it. The vast majority of murders in Democrat-run cities are all committed by criminals using stolen handguns. Not AR-15s. Not any rifle, for the most part.
Some of the handguns they got from the police buyback program in Chicago. Oops.
Yeah, most of them are stolen and bought from the cops in the buyback programs. Here's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. When you hear a Democrat friend go that route with you, ask them that. You're okay with what I'm trying to do is get them to say the quiet part out loud that they want to ban all guns.
Oh, absolutely. There's no such thing. There'll never be enough gun control. Great Britain is the perfect example, and now Canada. Canada's decided they're going to follow Great Britain. The United Kingdom, they're like, well, let's just take this. You guys don't need that, do you? And like, well, you don't need that. And you don't need that. And you don't need that. And now we got little girls in fear of migrant invader rape gangs having to arm themselves with knives and hatchets.
All right, Paul, stop right there. We're taking a break. When we come back, one more segment with Paul Markle. I'm going to try to bring John Lott on the broadcast tomorrow. We're in communication right now as the show goes on. We'll be back with Paul right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, do that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm holding up my card. If you're watching the show, you can see it. This is my Attorneys on Retainer card, and it is an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. If you carry a gun, and we're talking about evil today, evil walks amongst you, ladies and gentlemen. It's out there. It's behind you in lines at the grocery store. It's behind you in lines at the bank. I was at the bank today in a line, believe it or not. Hadn't been inside a bank in a while. And but they're there. You never know who's there, right next to you, right behind you, who you passed in the parking lot. And we've seen it manifest itself yet again today in the most horrific of ways. It's unimaginable. But evil is there, and you heard Paul talking about it in the first couple of segments of the program. And evil will act when it chooses to. You've already made a decision to defend yourself and be able to defend yourself. There's going to be an investigation. Make sure you have an Attorneys on Retainer card in your pocket so you have an attorney immediately. After the fact is too late. Don't hit yourself in the head and say, God, I should have done that. Okay? Do the right thing. Just do it. Get it done and do it. It's simple to do. It takes minutes. Don't be that person, okay? It's stupid not to have this. Take care of yourself by doing this and your family. Paul Markle, student of the gun. Welcome back, brother. So, and I did, guys, I just want to let you know, too, Paul, before I get right back to you, that I am in contact with Dr. Lott, and we will likely be bringing him on the program tomorrow, hopefully for the entire hour. He was able to come on for one segment, but I can't just keep John for one segment. I can't do that to you, listeners, because he is going to have way too much to say about this. He's already written about it, and these are things that he has studied for many, many, many years. And I know John has probably already read the manifesto and seen the videos. He will have an awful lot to impart to us tomorrow. Paul Markle, welcome back. I part of the evil that we're talking about, Paul, is also the gun control aspect of this. The disarm Americans as a response. And I mean, I've lost count how many times these killers have purchased their guns and gotten background checks. So there goes your background check argument right out the window, okay? Background checks look backward. They do not look forward. And ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this video, man, I tell you, Paul?
Well, can we remember what the definition of terrorism is? I mean, I kind of get sick of having to say it, but
say it.
Terrorism, is the use of violence or the threat of use of violence, particularly against civilians, in the effort to achieve political change, to push a political agenda. Okay, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, we get that. All right, so when you use an act of violence to push your political agenda, you are engaging in terrorism de facto or terrorism by proxy. Why are we so weak that we don't hold these people accountable for their words? Why are we so weak, Mark, that we don't hold them accountable for their words?
$1 million question,
Schumer
Paul.
et al. Go out. Why is no one saying, so you endorse terrorism to get your way? So what you're saying is that you believe the way to get your way politically is through terrorism. Now, they'll never say it out loud. They'll never admit it, but the facts are the facts, and that is exactly how they get their way. How many politicians have been held accountable for their take to the streets and make them feel the pain and get in their faces and make them feel uncomfortable and tell them they're not welcome here? That's all. You don't think that they created this monster?
Well, Paul, stop for a second. Hold it. You're dead on. This is my cousin Vinny thing that I always do. You are dead on, blank, accurate. And folks, what I'm referring to is if you watched or if you've seen this video, if it's still available on X, I don't know if it's, I'm sure it still is. But you'll see some of the slogans, Paul, that he painted on his guns with some of that rhetoric. So there's a direct tie here. Again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have the answer to this. That's above my pay grade. All right? But we're going to report it and talk about it because we have to. And, it's hard to put into words after you see that, Paul, to articulate it properly. when you're looking literally in the face of evil. I have a difficult time articulating that. But I know there's a connection there. I just don't know. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Well, whether someone actually told this guy to do what he did, they're like, well, you have no evidence that someone, told him to do it. Okay. Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did every day.
Evil did.
They did every day via TikTok, via Instagram, via Facebook, YouTube, whatever. When what's that dog face monster, Maxine something? When that dog face monster goes out and points her finger, they love to point their, how they like to point their index finger. Mm-hmm. And I wish they'd do it to me. I'd snap that thing right off. But they like to point their index finger, like, get in their faces. Let them know they're not welcome here. And then Trump is a Nazi. Trump is trying to destroy democracy. These MAGA people, Okay, whether or not they called this kid on the phone and told him to do what they did, or he just sat in his room consuming all this hate.
Well, of course he did.
They're still responsible.
Of course he did. And it wasn't just 48 hours ago that Waltz was speaking to the DNC, I believe in Minnesota, not far from where this occurred, that he said, how easy is it to be a Republican today? Put a stupid red hat on and act stupid. People like this are consuming this all day long. All day long.
They know they're spinning these people up.
Of course they do.
That's why they're doing it.
It's part of their agenda.
And when are we going to hold, as a society, as a country, when are these people going to be held responsible for their behavior?
Well, I dare say that if you or I were doing that continuously and caused a riot, you've got the mayor of Chicago, that lunatic scumbag, telling people to take to the streets if Donald Trump goes into Chicago, which I hope he does.
Yeah.
And so do millions of other Chicago residents as well.
It's not that bad. Trump is lying about the violence in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm. The people on the streets feel it. They know it's there. And we know it's there. We've been reporting it every day, every week anyway, for 17 years. I've given you the numbers in Chicago. Tens and tens and tens of thousands of murders.
Man, we got a big one coming up, brother.
We got Labor Day weekend.
We got a holiday weekend. Every holiday weekend, the gang-related murders in Chicago skyrocket.
Paul, where can people find you? We're ready to take a break. I wish we had another 2 hours. I could go with you all day long on this.
All right, people, here's the deal. You cannot prevent evil from being out there. All you can do is prepare yourself
to meet it.
For when you meet it. Go to SOTGU.com. Start training today. Sign up for one of our home study classes. Use the promo code AAR. Save some dough. You're welcome.
Hopefully you don't need the training that you get, folks, but you have got to understand that it's there. And I know most Armed American Radio listeners understand that. New listeners, new viewers to the show, take heed. Understand that evil is real. It exists. It manifested itself today in the most horrific of ways. I pray to God that this individual is rotting in hell. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. We'll get up and do it again tomorrow, folks, because they don't want us talking about it in the way that we do, which is exactly why we do it every single day. We'll have a lot more to cover on this tomorrow as more breaks. I can promise you that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Remember, evil is real, and I'll see you on the radio tomorrow, guys.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it very much. A lot going on, coming at us very quickly today in real time as we were live on the air. And I thank Paul Markle for sticking around for the remainder of the hour. He was originally scheduled for the full hour, so I'm glad he didn't have anything else planned when we moved that back to a half hour. We wanted to get Dr. John Lott in here. But I've been corresponding with John throughout the program in real time, and it looks pretty solid. I'm very hopeful that we can have John on for hopefully the full hour tomorrow. John has a lot to say about these things, and this one I can promise you, because we have a lot of information. We have manifestos, we have videos of the sickness, diseased, twisted evil that exists. And I'm not going to say his name. This guy's not worth it, of course. But make sure to tune in tomorrow. Please like and share the posts. We're going to continue talking about this likely for the remainder of the week. I think this is going to dominate the cycle and certainly well into the Sunday Monster broadcast. Please go out of your way. Visit all of our partners that make the show possible every single day. Join the National Rifle Association. Join Attorneys on Retainer, and be prepared should you ever have to meet evil, if it chooses on any given day to confront you, to deal with the aftermath of what you have to do to take care of evil, okay? AttorneysOnRetainer.us, promo code AAR, AttorneysOnRetainer.us/AAR, and that'll get you the huge $50 off on there, and it's $35 a month to have an attorney. For it, as long as you're a member, it's $35 a month. That's it. Should you ever need them, you're not going to pay any more than that at an hourly rate, ever. So don't get caught with your pants down. It's one of the smart things you can do right now and save yourself a lot of heartache, headache, and financial loss. All right? So enjoy your day, what's left of it. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.